engage in landscape restoration.
Wow. Yes.
It's a very
Yeah.
long version we had first. It's a
No,
short
it's
version.
wonderful for me. When we talking about restoration, for me, it's always wonderful. You get it. So that's why, if you remember, I invite you to 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 share about your food forest because I think it's part of restoration, land restoration.
Yeah.
But before that, I don't know if you are open to talk about this because I think it's wonderful there. For me, it's a wonderful there. Like I told you before, yesterday I was in Amsterdam. We was talking about regenerative agriculture and how we can engage um, partner people to invest like 3 times more to finance tree planting, you know. And today I come here and I see this. I say, okay, it's not so far from all the idea that we shared yesterday.
Yeah.
So I really want if you can tell us something about this.
Yeah, definitely. Because so this booklet we made, and it has a lot of pictures and information in it about what we do with MoMA, with the local food processor, and with the Grond Verbond combined as a team.
Yeah.
Sort of. We're brother and sisters, like a team together.
Yeah.
Because these booklets will be in all of the cafes, the coffee places in Amsterdam that MoMA sells the milk to. Yeah. So in these, it's about 50 cafes. Yeah. We have a map here of all the nice specialty coffee places. Yeah. Where you can buy a cappuccino. Yeah. And in the cappuccino can be either with plant-based milk or with cow milk that will come from either this farm or the other 4 farms that we work with.
If they can see, I really like the design.
Yeah.
Italian design. Yeah.
So the idea is that when you're drinking cappuccino and then you can just lying on the table, you can have a look, and you can learn a little bit about the farm where your milk comes from that you're drinking. So it's a little bit of a way to engage the consumers in the city of Amsterdam to the landscape around them and to their food, well, the food chain that produces it.
The traceability.
Yeah, so to make it very local and short and traceable. Yeah. That's the idea that we do with MoMA and with the Grond Verbond together. So the people who are drinking cappuccino and reading a little bit about it, and if they think, oh, that's interesting, I would like to visit one of these farms or join one of the restoration projects on the farm. Oh, I would like to come there, and then, well, they can, read about it in the book. Oh, when's the next planting day? Oh, I'll join or sign up for a newsletter, and then they get an invite for the events that we do on the farms. Yeah. And here we show what kind of restoration projects we have done on the farms. Yeah. So, for instance, on this farm we're doing a woven hedge that we're planting today. Yeah. And another project on this farm that's actually also gonna be starting this year, this winter. It's a food forest.
Food forest.
Yeah, and a food forest is a really cool way to restore the land because it's not opposite to agriculture. Often the duality exists now in the landscape that it either has to produce food or that it is for nature. And a food forest is something in between. So it's also for nature and also for producing food for humans.
For the community, yeah.
For the community and for a lot of other life, insects, mammals, birds.
Exactly.
And this is a particularly cool project. It's called succession farming, and it's created by our our ecologist who is all part of this. And they are going to try to make a dynamic food forest.
Dynamic food forest.
Yeah.
I'm sure that when people will listen this part, dynamic food forest, they'll say,
what is that?
What is that?
Yeah.
Why dynamic?
Why dynamic? Yeah. Because the agricultural system that we created now is a bit weird in the sense that it's super static. It's not dynamic. It's the opposite of dynamic. It's the idea that we produce corn here. And I mean, sometimes there is a year of doing something else, but usually it's just corn and crops here. And then we have grass here, and it's always grass. Or there is a forest there, and it's always forest.
Okay.
So it's really divided, and it's a human way of, making
to
the...
create a category.
Yeah, exactly.
Isolate every category.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in nature, everything is combined, and it changes all the time, and it moves, right? So it has a lot more diversity, because in a landscape, if you have a forest, well, there might come a forest fire, and it is all burned down, and then you have the pioneering plants coming up after the fire. It might be first a grass field or a meadow, and that turns into a forest slowly, and then there's a flood again, and then the landscape changes again and becomes a swampy area. If we as humans, and especially in the Netherlands, have not created so many dams and straight lines and categories of what it should be, and if we would leave it a little bit more open to nature, it would be a lot more dynamic. So this is an example that we're trying to integrate that a little bit more again. So the idea is that on 1 hectare, we will start a fruit forest by planting trees and shrubs with berries and apple trees and pear trees and all kinds of fruit trees and nut trees, walnuts. But under that, because the trees are still very young if you plant them, you saw them today. So there's a lot of space next to it before it becomes, and a lot of time before it becomes a big tree. So until that time, you can grow veggies underneath. You can grow something else. And if you grow vegetables, you grow them, it's annual, so you grow them every year, plant them again. So that's a quick way of growing something and being able to eat it. So if you plant the trees this winter, in spring already we can sow carrot seeds. And in the summer we have carrots, so we can sell that. So it's also a way of creating an income for a farmer who wants to create a food forest. But from the start, then you have an income already. So that is this project, which is going to start on 1 hectare. This winter we're going to plant trees, grow veggies underneath, and for the first 3 or 4 years you can sell veggies every year. The bushes will grow slowly. After 3 years you can sell berries also. Maybe after 7 years the trees will be big enough to produce apples. And then the dynamic part of it's already that you have from vegetables to a food forest.
You explain it. You already explained it. But since I was looking how to make it concise, because sometimes when we know stuff, we think that everyone can understand clearly. Because you already
it's too elaborate.
You already explained it very good. Like usually we make stuff in category, and not just in category, but isolated. Every category is isolated. We don't find a direct connection without the human implication. I think what we try to explain is make it dynamic, is designed in a way that all the different categories are working together without the woman being intervention. I don't know if it's what you were trying to explain or...
yeah, sort of, because I think there is a lot of intervention going on. But the idea to make it more dynamic is in the sense that you're first using the land for growing vegetables at the same time as slowly over the years you're letting it become a food forest. So you having a different sort of way that the landscape looks, and also the fruits that you can take from it usually. There is a next step to it, but that's sort of a 2.0. So the idea is that after 5 years or so, when the trees are so big that they give shade, and then you cannot grow something under that because there's no sun, then you go to the next plot. Next step, you do the same. You
Okay.
plant the trees, you grow veggies under that, but from the first plot, you can have harvest already from fruits, from the berries from the bushes, maybe apples from the trees. So you yeah, you can sell that.
Yeah.
That's an income for the farmer.
Yeah.
And then the next plot, you also have an income because you can sell the veggies. After 5 years, you do the same. You move to the next plot.
Yeah.
You grow there the veggies. Here you have the berries. And on the first plot, it's now maybe 10 years old. Maybe you start to have the first nuts. So
what is the dimension of this project?
How big you mean?
Yeah, how big is? And
yeah, this is
the first step is how many hectares?
Yeah, it's 1 hectare. We're starting, and then the idea is to move to the next hectare after 5 years. And the plot that we're doing it is 6 hectares. So potentially that's the idea. Yeah. Ideally, you would move every 5 years, and then after 30 years, you have a circle. And so you have trees that are almost 30 years old. And then you can start over. After trees, they're 30 years old. You start on the same plot that you started. So then you have a dynamic landscape that always sort of moves around. Actually. A few other projects that we did on other farms was, for instance, create a paradise for the chickens, a chicken paradise, which is basically they have on that farm about 200 chickens, and they were just scratching around in mostly either grass or bare soil. So now we planted all kinds of trees there in the field, so that they will have shade to be underneath, that they will have berries from the trees. Area. Yeah, exactly. And that's a different patch that fitted that context. And another place it is.
I would like to make that kind of project for my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my village.
Yeah.
Because my mom have like now soon she have 60.
Yeah.
I've seen some thinking which kind of project I can make in the village. So I don't just want her to go in the village. She wants to go back in the village to stay back. I'm thinking if she go, I need some kind of activity. That can make her remain in contact with the nature. At the same time, she have to enjoy that, and that project have to be sustainable and easy to manage. You know,
Well, that's a great way. And then, indeed, what we were talking about earlier, food, then you create a food forest. Actually,
food forest,
right?
But not so big for her, you know.
No, small enough. And what you're saying, that is also good for your mother to do as an activity.
Exactly.
To stay moving, to take care of the land, of the trees a little bit, but not work too hard. It's healthy for her too.
Exactly. For the mind, for the body, for everything.
Exactly. And what we were saying about the logo, the block of soil, people holding the soil in their hands. It's like about taking care of the land.
You don't have the big picture of the soil here somewhere?
Not the big picture actually. But we do. Yes, here we do.
Yeah. Perfect. We're talking about it. I don't know if the guys can see it.
Closer.
Yeah, it's beautiful, Abby. Very beautiful.
So, the idea is not only ecological, but also it's social. It's for humans. So, for instance, today we were with a group of people in the landscape, planting trees, and then sometimes we're there taking care of the trees or doing other maintenance work. It's healthy for people, and then we asked the people from the consumers from MoMA, who are mostly living in Amsterdam, so are often in the city. They don't often come outside to farms and work, do physical work, or work on the landscape. So we invite them to come to the farm and join us for a physical day of activity together, taking care of the landscape, and that's taking care of themselves as well.
Exactly,
because it's healthy, it's nice, it's
like me,
relaxing.
To be honest, in the morning, it was difficult for me. In the beginning, I just said to myself, you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. Doesn't matter the weather is cold. I do it. You already cold because normally they call with me, not a friend. All my body. Then we finish, then we take the coffee. But when we go for the next group, it's easy.
Yeah?
You know, tap. I said, after I asked him, what is happening?
Already?
Yeah. Now I'm Dutch. Yeah, I feel it. Yeah.
Nice.
Sorry.
Yeah. So you feel already getting healthier by minute. Yeah. Right?
It's very wealthy, you know.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah.
For the mind, you know, for the body.
Exactly. It's relaxing. Yeah.
Yeah, relaxing.
So it's also, taking care of the landscape is also taking care of yourself, and often it's so much seen as a dichotomy, or that's an English word, like as a duality, that it's either, oh, I have to do something for nature, or, oh, I'm doing this for myself, I'm choosing for myself, or so. And too often it's maybe seen as two different worlds, but it goes hand in hand, of course, right? Yeah. So yeah, taking care of the landscape is very much taking care of yourself too.
That's very nice. Yeah. You say the other project of the NGO?
Yeah, so we had the chicken paradise, we had the bird biodiversity. Here we have a woven hedge with berries and a walking path next to it. Yeah. So then we had a cow pharmacy too. Yeah. A cow pharmacy.
Pharmacy.
So that was a diverse hedge too. So it's trees and shrubs, and which are all good for the cows, for the cow health too. So they can eat the leaves of a willow, for instance, which functions as a paracetamol.
Yeah, for them.
Yeah, for them. Yeah, it actually has the same substances in the leaves as they use for a paracetamol.
Wow. Please, can you repeat again this part?
So willows, which is a very common native tree here. It grows really well in wet soils, and there are a lot of wet soils here. The willow, its leaves, it functions as a paracetamol for the cows. It has the same.
So it's part of the pharmacy. Yeah. You call it a pharmacy?
The cow pharmacy.
The cow's pharmacy.
Yeah. And the idea is that cows naturally know what they're lacking, which kind of nutrients they're lacking. There has been quite a lot of research done that the cows instinctively know, oh, I need this leaf from this tree because I need more zinc or mangan, or and that they
can cure themselves, you know.
Exactly, they can cure themselves.
They just ask us the opportunity to do it.
And then it can cure partly perhaps themselves, but also it's about prevention.
Prevention.
Getting a healthy and diverse diet prevents them from getting sick, just like we do. So that was a cow pharmacy on the farm, and on the same farm we planted some walnut trees to have walnuts as a extra income perhaps in the future for the farmers too, and walnut big trees that help biodiversity and birds and all kinds of animals. And then there's another project on another farm. Boerderij buiten verwachting, it's called, the farm. And these two farmers, they make beautiful cheeses, and it's a very biodiverse farm. It's a really cute farm.
Which page is this one?
Yes, here. No, that's another one. That was the first farm where we were. That's biodiversity. Bird diversity.
It's before.
This is after page 28. So this farm is from Myrte and Bas.
Yeah, I think that I follow them in Instagram.
Ah, nice. Yeah, it's a really great farm. They are all about diversity in so many ways. Like the social aspect, it's very prominent there. They have all kinds of old breeds for their goats, for the chickens, for their cows.
It's look big there also, huh? I really love your logo. I want to know more about it. How the idea come? From where the idea come? From the dream? Or from where?
Yeah. So the logo, it's a block of soil, which fits the name. Grond Verbond. grond means soil in Dutch.
Yeah.
And well, the idea came from Mirtan, who you interviewed earlier,
Yeah.
who started MoMA. And it's a symbol for taking care of the soil, taking care of the land.
Why not the trees?
Sorry?
What not trees?
Why not trees? Well, because also in the area around here where we are,
Yeah.
a lot of the landscape doesn't have trees. It's grass fields.
Okay.
And a lot of biodiversity is under our feet. It's in the soil.
In the soil.
Yes, and actually, like in a lot of sciences, so they're only starting to realize that, oh my God, biodiversity is not only above ground but underground. Yeah, so we're slowly learning about that, and so there's everywhere there's soil, not everywhere there's trees.
Yeah.
So soil, the landscape, yeah, it's what do you call it? A figure or so, or it shows that it's.
It's like show your vision.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, it's. It's what we do with the NGO is trying to take care of the landscape better.
Yeah, and to take care of the landscape better is to take care of the soil.
Exactly. Yeah.
How? People want to say, okay.
How?
Planting trees, how that tree affect positively the soil?
Yeah. So you really need to look at the soil, what type of soil it is, before how you can decide how to take care of the landscape better. Sometimes you can plant trees, and then the soil also determines what type of tree you plant. And how we are taking care of the soil with the farmers is that every year we design a project on a farm together with the farmer and the consumers, so with the whole food chain together, local food chain of MoMA. We design a project that fits the context of the farm, because every farm is different and every landscape is also a bit different. And having different ways of restoring the landscape also brings diversity in the landscape, and that's what we all want, right? To have a healthy system, you need diversity in all kinds of ways.
It's a bit flexibility also,
dynamic flexibility, diversity. So taking care of the landscape together is looking at the landscape and seeing, okay, what fits here, what fits these conditions. So, and we do have different we did different projects on different farms. So for instance, on another farm we did a project for bird biodiversity. Bird biodiversity, yes. Wow. So it was partly planting hedges, trees, but also putting up nesting boxes for the birds, or making insect hotels so that they attract insects, and then the birds have food also. So it's a different kind of way of taking care of the landscape.
Some ecosystem that made with that environment.
Exactly. Exactly. Wow. And then another